Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the new Planeswalkers that are going to be released with the upcoming new Capenna set. So, let's get into it. Now, really quickly, to tackle the elephant in the room, no, I don't have magically more time right now to be able to put out weekly recordings and stuff. It's just I happened to get a small pocket tonight, and I'm just as excited as all of you are to see a new set coming into Puzzle Quest. I am always extra excited when there's a multicolored set coming in, because those tend to play out really well in Puzzle Quest, so I'm excited to see how this works out. And there are some new Planeswalkers that are coming to the game that I think are going to be really exciting. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into those walkers. Now, the first one is going to be a mono-white Planeswalker. It's Elspeth Resplendent, and you'll see that Elspeth has a pearl necklace. So a number of these Planeswalkers have been given a pearl necklace, and that just means that they have a passive ability. Now, Elspeth Resplendent, why am I having such a hard time with her name? I don't know. Might be the necklace. So, yeah, her passive ability is going to state that when a card you control gets buffed or gains an evergreen, a random support you control gains one shield. And then that passive can only trigger one time per turn. Now, Elspeth's kit tends to revolve around giving creatures buffs and evergreens, so the passive is going to work with Elspeth's abilities. Her first ability, Halo Infusion, is going to give a creature you control a permanent 2/2 buff, and then that creature is going to gain an evergreen at random between Flying, Vigilance, Lifelink, First Strike, and the new mechanic Shield Counter. So the Shield Counter will prevent damage one time to that creature. So looking at this first ability, it really looks sort of like a Puzzle Master Ajani Light ability. Definitely not quite as good as Puzzle Master Ajani's ability. However, it does offer a lot of different possibilities. I would definitely be interested to see if activating this ability multiple times might periodically fizzle on the evergreen side, if it tries to apply flying, as an example, to a creature that already has flying, or if it will only choose an evergreen that a creature doesn't already have. So that's one that we'll just have to see as she comes out and we have a chance to play with her. The second ability is Shining Bulwark. Shining Bulwark is going to cost you 13 loyalty, and you're going to pick one of the first 4 creature or support cards from your library, fetch that card, and give it full mana. Then you're going to create the Protection Provenance token, and it will gain 1 shield. So before I get into what that Protection Provenance token does, I'm going to go ahead and say that Shining Bulwark is the first of its kind for a white Planeswalker, and it is an absolutely phenomenal ability. So being able to fetch one of the first 4 creature or support cards from your library and then give it full mana is going to give you a way of getting specific combo pieces or cards that you particularly want to pull for really any given point in the game and get them on the battlefield. I think that this ability here is without a doubt an S-tier ability. It's a phenomenal ability. Now, that doesn't mean that I think that Elspeth is going to be an S-tier Planeswalker, in part because of Puzzle Master Ajani. However, this ability definitely stands out to me as an ability that I would maybe consider using in Coalition events. So the Protection Provenance token is going to be a white support with 2 shields, and when this support's gem is matched, another random card you control gains Shield Counter. And then if this support has the Heroism emblem, instead that card gains Shield Counter. I'm wondering if that means that the support itself gains a Shield Counter if you match it, if that's what that card means. It's not entirely clear from the description, but either way, when you match the support gem from the Protection Provenance token, you're going to go ahead and start giving more of these shield counters to other cards you control. The third ability, Graceful Saviors, is only going to cost 16 loyalty. I say only because your third ability costing 16 is very reasonable. And you'll see that the third ability is going to create 4 angel tokens. And then non-token creatures you control get a +1/+1 buff. which is going to activate the passive ability. And then you're going to create the Protection Provenance token. Same token that you get for the second ability. However, if you use it with the third ability and you control 2 or more buffed creatures or cards that have gained evergreens, then the Protection Provenance token is going to gain the Heroism emblem. Now, angel tokens right now, if we go to, I think it's my phone here, right? So if we type in angel token, right, and we look at what angel tokens are right now in Puzzle Quest, you're just that thing, right? So angel tokens are these 4/4 flying tokens. Now, depending on which set you're going to be pulling from, sometimes they have vigilance. I'm inclined to think that the angel tokens are going to have vigilance, but maybe not, I guess. No, I guess not, right? Vigilant angel tokens just say vigilant angel token. I just proved myself wrong. I love doing that. So, just 4/4 angel tokens. Still, that's pretty useful. It's because if you get 4 of them, that's going to be a 16/16 for 16 loyalty. So, definitely a solid ability. So, Elspeth's mana gains are the last thing we'll take a look at. She's got the 4/4/3 spread of +4, +4, +3 with 2 -1s. This particular mana spread, I think, is pretty weak right now because we have so much incredible gem conversion at our disposal in the game that Planeswalkers with higher bonuses tend to be a little bit more effective in the game. So Elspeth could wind up being a really great Planeswalker because of her second ability, or she could turn out to be a relatively mediocre Planeswalker. So we'll just have to see. The second Planeswalker is going to be a new mono-green Vivian. This one's going to be Vivian on the Hunt. You'll see that they gave her a pearl necklace as well. And so Vivian on the Hunt's passive ability is actually really cool. It states that when a creature you control dies, the first creature card in your hand without mana gains X mana, where X is the base power of the destroyed creature. This effect can trigger only once per turn. The only real downside to this ability to me is that it states that the first creature in your hand without mana gains the mana. So if you're already charging up a creature in your hand with mana, then it's not going to be able to gain the mana from the passive. But with that said, you'll see that Vivian's abilities are going to once again lend to that passive ability. So her first ability, Rhino Charge, is going to create a Rhino token. That Rhino token is going to gain the Warrior subtype, and your first creature is going to gain +2/+0 until end of turn. Then your first creature fights target opposing creature. That means it's going to deal damage equal to its power to the first opposing creature, and the opposing creature will deal damage equal to its power to your first creature. So you will definitely have a first creature when you use the ability because you will create a Rhino token. Rhino tokens in Puzzle Quest are 4/4 tokens. So if we take a look at them, they're just those green 4/4 tokens with trample. You'll see it right there on Girid. But having the ability to make 4/4 tokens is pretty cool, especially with abilities that wind up populating tokens. So I could see Rhino Charge being really strong depending on the other cards that are in Standard. It's definitely going to be a really cool ability in conjunction with Coma, because Coma is going to populate your tokens. And so since you're going to be making 4/4 tokens, those 4/4 tokens that you're going to be populating twice every turn are going to be just blowing up in your opponent's face. Maybe your opponent Planeswalker will get a Pearl Necklace. So then the second ability, Jungle in the City, is going to destroy the top 12 cards of your library. Then you're going to return the last 2 creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Those cards gain X mana. Those creatures gain +3/+3. And then X is going to be the number of creature cards in your graveyard. So seeing this ability on a green Planeswalker is just really cool to me. I'm actually really excited for Vivian on the Hunt because of this second ability. So you could run Gather the Pack, which is a card that pretty much everyone should have, right? Because it's an uncommon from Origins, and the card just winds up being gifted to you for playing, basically in one of those packs that's just got guaranteed specific loot. And so the Gather the Pack is going to throw 4 creatures into your graveyard, but this second ability here is likely going to throw a bunch of creatures in your graveyard as well. And so if you just keep spamming that second ability, you're just going to be throwing more and more cards into your graveyard. And then as you're throwing more and more cards into your graveyard, you're going to get more creatures, and you're going to be able to pull more of them and just give them full mana and boost them. And so this just looks like an absolutely phenomenal ability to me, especially in the current Standard where we have Planeswalkers like Ren and Six. where Renin 6 is going to have a first ability that converts gems to your Planeswalker colors equal to the number of non-creature cards in your graveyard. So as you use this second ability right here, if you have the Renin 6 Vanguard, I say Planeswalker, but if you have the Renin 6 Vanguard, then you're kind of getting like double trouble on your opponent, because all the creatures that you throw into your graveyard are going to be coming back into play, and all the non-creatures that you throw into your graveyard are going to convert more and more gems to green, which is going to fuel that second ability to likely be usable pretty much every single turn. So really, really, really cool ability. I really like that one. Her third ability, Powered Selection, is going to pick one of the first 4 creature cards from your library and fetch it. Then you're going to create a Powered Selection token. That card, being the token, gains the competition emblem. Then you may destroy target creature you control. If you do, the last creature card in your hand gains 12 mana. So that Powered Selection token is going to be this one right over here, which is going to be a support with 3 shields, and when a creature you control dies or loses a reinforcement during your turn, perform one of these effects at random. Either all creatures in your hand get a permanent +2/+2 buff, all creatures in your hand will gain the Evergreen Reach, all creatures in your hand will gain the Evergreen Death Touch, and when this support's gem is matched, if the support has the competition emblem, your first creature fights the first opposing creature. So 25 loyalty for this ability as compared to, say, the first or the second ability. I don't honestly know why you would ever use this ability. I see Vivian very much as a 2-ability Planeswalker, but nonetheless, there is no other green Planeswalker that does really anything like this second ability here. The closest would be the Renin 7 Planeswalker, who's able to mill 4 cards per turn, but I mean 12 is vastly more than 4, so Vivian on the Hunt is potentially going to become one of my favorite Planeswalkers, depending on what other green interaction we get with graveyards is going to be. So you'll see that Vivian has a different mana spread than Elspeth. We don't typically see Planeswalkers, monocolor Planeswalkers at least, come out in sets and have different mana spreads, but she has a +4/4/4 and then a -2/-1 instead of 4/4/3 -1/-1. So I'm definitely going to keep my eyes out for Vivian on the Hunt. She looks very cool to me. Our third Planeswalker is going to be Abnyxillus the Adversary. Abnyxillus the Adversary is going to be one of those rare dual color walkers that's been given a passive ability. As you'll see, someone's given him the Pearl Necklace treatment as well. So Abnyxillus the Adversary's Pearl Necklace is very important to read before we read the rest of his kit, as some of his kit is going to revolve around that passive ability. So his passive ability, Casual Call, is going to make it so that when you activate a loyalty ability, you may pay 6 additional loyalty. And if you do, you're going to duplicate that ability's effect. You cannot choose new targets for that duplicated ability. So basically, anytime you use one of your loyalty abilities, if you have 6 extra loyalty, you can use that ability a second time, which is super cool. We haven't really seen anything like that in Puzzle Quest before this. So being able to like double activate your Planeswalker abilities definitely stands out to me as something that will be fun to play with. So the first ability, Det Open, is going to make it so that your opponent discards the last card that can be discarded from their hand. Then your opponent loses 6 life. And if you control a demon or a devil creature, you gain 6 life. Otherwise, you're going to create 2 red devil tokens. So if you wind up activating this twice, right, red devil, you're going to be making your opponent discard up to 2 cards. They're going to lose up to 12 life, and then you're going to gain up to 12 life, or you're going to start creating a bunch of these red devil tokens. If we look for one of these cards that makes red devil tokens, there we go, thank you. The red devil tokens are these 1/1 tokens with when the creature dies, the opponent's first creature takes damage equal to this creature's power. So they're not very strong as tokens go, but nonetheless, being able to make your opponent discard multiple cards, lose a substantial amount of life, and gain you a substantial amount of life is definitely a nifty ability. Downside is that while it looks like it's only going to cost you 8 loyalty, it would actually cost you 14 if you wanted to double up on Det Open. The second ability, Open the Gate, is going to create 4 of the red devil tokens, right? These ones over here on the side. And then if this is a duplicated effect you used this turn, meaning that you wind up having Abnyxillus' passive and additional 6 loyalty funnel into Open the Gate, then those tokens are going to gain Haste, Berserker, and First Strike until end of turn. So if you wind up copying the ability, you'll create 8 of those devil tokens instead, and then those 8 tokens will gain Haste, Berserker, and First Strike. So this ability looks really, really cool to me. I really love the idea of this and having it go with the passive ability to double up. However, making an 8/8 token with Haste, Berserker, and First Strike for 23 loyalty just really doesn't feel that powerful. So while I love the idea of the ability, I don't think I will like it in execution. So hopefully the loyalty cost changes, maybe? I don't know. Like if Debt Open wound up costing like, I don't know, 5 loyalty, and then this here costs maybe 8. I don't know what the actual loyalty point would be to make it so that I would be excited about making 8 of those tokens. The Haste, Berserker, and First Strike is cool because it's probably going to kill one of your opponent's creatures, but it just feels like it's too much loyalty for that. And then finally, the third ability for Abnyxillus is going to be Unholy Bargain. So target player draws up to 6 cards. Then if that player is an opponent, that player loses X life. X is equal to 15 minus the amount of cards drawn this way. So let's say that your opponent, you target your opponent and they have a full hand, right? They draw 0 cards. Then they would take just straight up 15 damage. And then if you wind up copying the ability, they'll take 30 damage, right? Or let's say that your opponent has no cards in hand and you target your opponent and they draw 6 cards. Then the second part of the ability, if you wind up doubling it up, will make them then lose the 15 life. So part of why this here says you can't choose new targets for the duplicated ability, I think is really just because of Unholy Bargain, because then you can't just make it so that you draw 6 cards and then your opponent potentially loses 15 life for doubling down on that ability. But whatever. Either way, it doesn't feel like it would be overpowered, but I do like the idea of just being able to target yourself to draw 6 cards. I don't super like that it'll cost you 19 loyalty to draw 6 cards, but I mean, it's not terrible at all. Like Black-Red tends to struggle with card draw, so this ability here could wind up being really good. On the whole, Abnyxillus, the Adversary, looks more like a flavor pick. Like it would just be sort of fun to play with. It doesn't necessarily look like a Planeswalker that looks like it's going to be an S tier absolute must-have Planeswalker, but I really like the addition of this to the game. And finally, the fourth and final Planeswalker that is being added to the game is Dakon Shadowslayer. I'm going to go ahead and say it's about time that we see Dakon, the Planeswalker, enter Puzzle Quest, because this Planeswalker actually came out a few sets ago, and so I was actually expecting to see this. I want to say it came out in Kaldheim. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, in Paper Magic, but somewhere around there. So Dakon has been out in Paper Magic for a few sets, and so I've been hoping that we would see Dakon, and we finally are. So Dakon is a very notable Planeswalker to enter Puzzle Quest because Dakon is a tri-colored Planeswalker and is going to be the first black, blue, white Planeswalker to enter Puzzle Quest. So, very first of its kind. Dakon Shadowslayer does not have one of the new passive abilities, instead just has 3 abilities. So the first one, Bearer of the Blackblade, is going to make it so that you surveil 4, and then you're going to gain life equal to the number of white gems on the board. Your opponent is going to lose life equal to the number of black gems on the board, and you're going to gain loyalty equal to the number of blue gems on the board. This first ability is absolutely bonkers. It's really, really good. So, as I spell surveil incorrectly, again, a second time, because if there are 9 or more blue gems on the battlefield, which isn't a really crazy thing to think of, especially if you look at the mana bonuses, you'll see that blue is one of his highest bonuses, so you could just spec into blue conversion. I say spec into, but like use blue conversion. And then you wind up just getting all your loyalty back. So you could just keep spamming this to surveil 4, and then make your opponent lose life equal to the number of black gems, and you gain life equal to the number of white gems every single turn. And then surveil is just an absolutely phenomenal ability, because surveil 4 is going to make it so that you're going to pick up to the top 4 cards of your library and put any number of those in your graveyard, and the rest on the top of your library. So basically this first ability is going to make it so that you will pretty much freely be able to determine what card you're going to draw, and then gain life, make your opponent lose life, and then get its loyalty back. So really, really good ability. The second ability, One's Vengeance Path, is going to exile target creature, then convert a gem to white, convert a gem to blue, convert a gem to black, and if you exiled a creature you control, instead you're going to convert 3 gems to white, 3 gems to blue, and convert 3 gems to black. So I once again absolutely love this ability. I love this for a few reasons. The first is that it's exile instead of destroy, which is always handy. Exiling your opponent's creatures means that there's less likelihood that they're going to come back to haunt you. So having an exile target creature is phenomenal. Having the gem conversion to go with it is kind of a neat added bonus. But the more important piece is that it says exile target creature, meaning that you can exile your own creature. As sometimes you're playing a coalition event and your deck is just advancing a little bit too quickly, or maybe you just haven't drawn that one card that you need to achieve one of the objectives for the event to get all of your ribbons. And so you want to be able to get rid of one of your own creatures. And most of the Planeswalkers that have destruction in their kit do not enable you to destroy your own creature, but Dakon will enable you to do that. And beyond that, not only is it going to do that, but it's going to actually convert more gems to your colors, meaning that you're more likely to get mana back, which will hurt you a lot less for exiling your own creature. So this is a really good ability. The only downside is that it costs 16 loyalty, which is a very heavy cost for Planeswalker removal. If you look at Bolas is, I want to say, 12 or 9, actually. It goes down to 9. I think the first Bolas is 9. And then the next Bolas, the Dragon God, is up to 13, I want to say. We've got some other Planeswalkers with removal as well, like Lolth here, right? Lolth's is going to cost 12 with Lolth's Punishment. We've got the Bolas crew, like I said, 9 for Scorpion Sting, and 12 for Dragon God Scorn. So having it cost 16 is definitely a lot more than a lot of the other Planeswalkers that we've seen. And even like Planeswalkers who have destruction in their kit, but it just does a lot more, like Garruk Cursed Huntsman, which I think is probably the best destruction in the game for a Planeswalker ability. But nonetheless, this is still like absolutely phenomenal, and you're getting it on a tricolor walker, so not too much that you can complain about there. And then finally, the third ability, Forged by Greed, is you're going to destroy the top 10 cards of your library. You're going to create a Forging the Blackblade token. And then that card, the Forging the Blackblade token, is going to gain the Darkness emblem. Then you're going to move the first 2 supports from your graveyard to play under your control. So since you're going to be destroying the top 10 cards of your library, you're probably going to have some supports in your graveyard. So you're probably going to get some stuff back for free no matter what for doing this. The Forging the Blackblade token is going to be a white, blue, black support with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, your first creature gets +1/+1 for each white, blue, and black gem on the board until end of turn. And if it has the Darkness emblem, which it will, opposing creatures are going to get -X until end of turn, where X is the greatest number among white, blue, or black gems on the board. So this ability is just absolutely crazy. It's ridiculous, because not only are you going to be milling yourself, which is a phenomenal ability, but you're going to be making a token that's going to boost your creatures to win the game a lot faster. Like, I mean, getting +1/+1 for the white, blue, and black gem, I mean, you're probably going to be pretty easily giving that creature somewhere between 15 and 25 power every single turn. And then with all of your opponent's creatures losing XX until end of turn, based on the greatest number of gems, your conversion should be giving you 10 or more gems, so somewhere between 10 and maybe like 18 gems on the board. So you should be basically board wiping your opponent every single turn and boosting one of your creatures just passively for having this Forging the Blackblade token on the battlefield. So Dakon Shadowslayer might honestly be the best tricolor Planeswalker to enter Puzzle Quest. I know that's a bold statement, because the Bolosses are pretty good. In Legacy, Brokon is pretty good. But this might even be a Planeswalker that I would use in Standard, even with the mana bonuses. So the mana bonuses are indeed significant, because all the other tricolor walkers have like +2 or +3 as a maximum mana bonus, with the exception of Bolas the Dragon God. So this one right here, I say Bolas the Dragon God. Yeah, I did. Bolas the Dragon God, which has the +4/+4/+3 spread that Dakon Shadowslayer has. So Dakon Shadowslayer has, in my opinion, the best possible mana bonus spread for a tricolor Planeswalker as well, at least based on what we've seen in Puzzle Quest. So everything about this Planeswalker screams you need to have this Planeswalker. I would definitely suggest that you either pick it up when it enters the vault if you're a person who pays, or you wait for it to enter for mana crystals. This definitely seems like a Planeswalker that you're going to want to save your 850 mana crystals to pick up. So that is it for the new Planeswalkers. I'm hopeful to be able to create other videos on the new cards and what are some cool things that I see coming into the game on that front. And then to actually go over all of the patch notes as well, to go over the new mechanics, and then to go over the changes, bug fixes, etc. So thank you, as always, for watching my videos. I know I haven't been putting out as many of them as I would really like to of late. Things have just been entirely terrible. If you're in my Discord, you know why. If you're not, I don't know if I've posted on my channel why, which seems like an oversight, but oh well, one of these days. Anywho, thank you again. I'll see you in the next one.